to say memories night that over Shabbos, HaBachur, Chaim Tzvi connected to so I just want to share some memories I have of Chaim Tzvi. I understand he had a very coveted levaya. Levaya was like in Yerushalayim, but in America I heard that over 1,000 people were there by the levaya on Shabbos, and he had the kfur, Yisaychet kfur in Eretz Yisrael. Unfortunately, of course, he never married, never had children. I don't know if he had any brothers or sisters, anybody to sit shiva for him. So we all have to take something to remember Chaim Tzvi. So I knew Chaim Tzvi when I was a Bachur. I was a day camp counselor at Machne Kayetz in Monticello, New York. And this very interesting character was the lifeguard there. So he worked as the lifeguard, but he was more than a lifeguard. He was, there were a few characters there who were like the mascots there. Machne Kayetz is an interesting place because technically it was called a hotel because they serve, unlike other bungalow colonies, which you call like a kochaline. That's what they used to call it. We don't usually use that term anymore. But Machne Kayetz was from the old-fashioned places that's better than a kochaline because they would serve 3 meals a day there. And Choshvin there, I remember wrote Cheskel wrote Zazin, meine rief sich von Hamrada Ruv, and there's also Rabbi Denknish from Detroit, Ruv Zazin, Joseph Deutsch, Shiva, and he had also there Maggid Shir was Kalisher Rebbe Zazin, and now he's Kalisher Rebbe in Williamsburg, very Chushbehid, Kalisher Rebbe Shlita. I remember him when he was in German. And then there was this fellow, Willie, African American fellow, who he thought he was a Yid something. It was very interesting, and then a very colorful character. But one of the other, and then now also from the Balabatim there was Yitzhak Schwartz, the brother Ruv. Now he wasn't Ruv then; he was just Yitzhak Schwartz, but also these are big people that I was able to be around. People with big characters and big. And Chaim Tzvi Freiman was one of those guys who called himself Yerushalayim. He was from the Neturei Karta, but from in America, most of the Neturei Karta are more on the Hasidic, I think, I don't know exactly where it was sold David Weiss, but he was a Hungarian. And then Rabbi Beck was from Vishnitz originally, and then Chaim Tzvi was from the real Yerushalayim, Neturei Karta, Minagagra. But really he came more from, I think, more like a Yakisha background. He learned in YU, lived in Washington Heights, but he wasn't really welcome anywhere in Washington Heights. So he would go to Isaac Harim in Williamsburg and Monroe and amongst the other places, and very charismatic person, but also very humble and kind. I was more on the Zionist side or somewhere in between, wasn't quite sure. So I remember I came to the swimming pool with a T-shirt like everybody knows Rabbi Meir Kahana was right. And so you have the Chaim Tzvi, it was in Neturei Karta, and he was very polite about it, and we had nice conversations. We got along very well. He always had a smile. He was always a nice person, and he was a Talmid Chacham and talented speaker. But people just thought his ideas were a little bit off. And then I saw him in Yerushalayim. I remember by Slonimer, Rosh Koilel and Slonim. They were friends. And Slonim, we're talking about the Vasa Slonim, we're talking about the more Zionist Slonim where they speak Ivrit and everything, and they were good friends and they got along well. Also American Yid, but and then and then I remember Chaim Tzvi came to my chasna, and then I saw him once or twice, I think, since then. Once we were Shabbos by the Aladdin, and he also was lifeguard there, and he was very excited because he saw his Arabic name, the Aladdin, So that was Chaim Tzvi Freiman, and Atari Yid, unfortunately, is given a Vek Zayin. He was a big Baal Chesed, a big Baal Tzedakah. He would go and he would collect, he would hand out money in Yerushalayim. People looked forward to seeing him. And he explained why he didn't live in Yerushalayim. He called himself Yerushalayim, and he dressed with Yerushalmi kapata, Yerushalmi rekel. And he said it was why he didn't live in Yerushalayim, because the halacha or the minig was that in Yerushalayim, if you were single, you couldn't live in Yerushalayim because that's thought to the Yerushalayim. So until you reach a certain age, and he said he wasn't there yet. He was a little older then, I think by the time he was nifter, he was already the age that I don't remember exactly. He said, I think he said between the ages of 20 and 60, you shouldn't live in Yerushalayim unless you're married, something like that. So that was his. Well, he was a colorful character. We'll miss him, and there should be his chus for his neshama. He should have his neshama shav aliyah. I don't know. Again, I don't know if he had any brothers or sisters, anybody who could who sits shiva for him or anything. But we're going to do and we say we're sad that we lost such a tired friend. Again, even if we didn't agree with all his ideas, he was a wonderful person, and his neshama shav lichtig gan Eden. All right, thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you later.